gentlemen. Now, I met these lovely lads, and there's another guy that works with them, and they got me for free. Woohoo! Got me for free for a while. So I decided I would bring them onto the summit. So Miguel and Jacob, I want you, and I don't care who goes first or if you interrupt each other, tell me or tell us a bit more about this new software, this platform that you've come up with. I'm going to have to pick one of them, aren't I? Go. Jacob, tell us.
Yeah. So this, we built a software that ends a pain of chaotic meetings that are not properly structured, and most importantly, that don't end with a good ending, which means decisions are made, follow-up actions set up a track, and everyone walks out with a feeling of satisfaction, fulfillment after that meeting. Our software enables to do that.
Brilliant. Because to be fair, we do all end up having to go to meetings. We used to have a sign on the office wall. I do a bit of work between meetings. So, Miguel, how did you all get together? Because the three of you, you're in the UK, Jacob and Co are in the States. How did you sort of meet each other?
Sure. So it was via a what I call a founder dating website. I think it was foundernation.com.
Wow.
And Jacob found my profile and we got talking, and I thought it was a really interesting project, really interesting right now as well. So I've been in the company for 6 weeks now, going on to 7. And I think it's a really useful tool for anyone who has to work remotely with a team, or has to try and make, decisions with multiple stakeholders. And, all our team is spread across the world. So, it's a testament of how we all work so well together.
It's good timing as well, isn't it? Because so many people are working from home. So it's even more difficult to get decisions made over meetings when a lot of meetings are on remote now. And I don't see that changing. So do you see that this platform, this software actually is absolutely vital for this sort of time we're in at the moment?
Absolutely. It's for the meetings, yes, because when we come into those Zooms and Skypes, we don't necessarily have our agenda and all of the documents together and know why we're here. But also it's important to frankly know who is doing what, because when we were in the office, we can just we see, we chat, meet, right? And that's what our software enables is not just having a good time at the meeting, but as Bev, as you said, what are we going to be doing in between the meetings and in tracking and living kind of less anxiety about am I on track and is my team on track?
Yeah. Will it take some pain out of project management? I hate I've always hated project management. So it sounds to me like this is a bit of it's sort of a bit like making sure people do what they're supposed to do without having to follow a Gantt chart forever. Well,
I think there's always going to be a need for those project management tools, unfortunately, because it's like the construction of a building, right? First you need the foundations, and then you need Meeting Atlas is more about the operations and maybe certain projects, but more around decision making. So it's very good at bringing the expertise into the room. So it's easy to share documents, and if it's, let's say there's a certain piece of research, you can easily assign that to someone. They can then upload the document in time for the meeting. Everyone has already read it, and when it comes to making a decision, everybody's got that information readily available. And actually, we've got this tool called Document Broadcast. So when you turn the page on the document, it turns it for everybody that's using the app at the same time.
How clever! Yeah. How clever is that? So it's a real productivity, isn't it?
Yes, and let me just add, since you both mentioned Gantt chart. They're important, as Miguel rightly said. If you're constructing a building, you have to have a Gantt chart, right? However, they're not as dynamic because what if starts to, the rain starts and, things happen and they're not necessarily reflected in that Gantt chart. Yeah, some of the deadlines could be moved, but if there are issues that come up, if there are things that happen, you don't want to cloud that Gantt chart with questions and answers and should we paint it yellow or green, right? So all of those stuff, I mean, it's dynamic, which static project management systems, they just capture tasks and deadlines.
Yeah.
But what about occurrences? What about problems or opportunities?
Yeah.
Right? Because we want to think of every problem as also an opportunity worth bringing up.
Well, to me, anything that makes a meeting more productive is a yes to me. Tell me this. How have you found the process, and you may have done this before with another business, how have you found the process of startup and coming up with something, especially it's tech, which has lots of coding and everything else. How have you found that process?
Well, since I was the one who started that whole thing, it kind of there was a U-curve, because the beginning was exciting, great, thinking through the big vision, getting people on board, early stage investors, and it was just a very exciting time.
Yeah.
Then when we actually started developing, writing code, I was a little bit naive, or maybe I should say cocky. I thought, 6 month piece of cake will do it. Of course, I've never started a tech software company before, so I was way wrong. It was not 6 months, it was 2 years, and we kept running out of money. So then it was extremely difficult, extremely nerve-wracking, just mostly financial, right? Because money tends to run out.
It's not cheap to do tech, is it? So.
Yeah, and also to predict, right? Our Gantt chart became completely useless in week 4, but so that was I have to be honest, a low point. It was, but then once the software was out and we started to sell and we could feel the customers and that vibration, then we could start breathe again. So it was really had those 3 periods.
And you, Miguel, so you've only been there 6 weeks, so you didn't have to go through the ups and downs so much.
No.
What's it like for you, though, coming into a company, into this dynamic where poor old Jacob there, 3 years later, and he's pulled most of his hair out. You're coming in. How's it been for you?
Sure. Well, I think in some ways it's a blessing that I don't have, the baggage of old ideas or the things that we've had to say no to, and you can come in and sort of see it with a fresh perspective. And we're looking at a new audience now. So originally we were looking at boards and board meetings, and now it's meetings at any level of the hierarchy. So the audience is different, the expectations are going to be different, and it's really sort of putting a case forward and empathizing with this new user to then adapt our messaging, adapt our branding, and even our marketing is going to be very different.
It's interesting because when I first started with you all, and you talked about this, and honestly, they called it meeting software, I think, whatever it was to me. But when we dug it apart from it, trust me, this isn't just meeting and software it's something else. And when you see the website and you talk to them, you'll realize that.
Well, this is the problem. We're struggling to find the right words sometimes. Today, I was talking to Asman, who works with us, and we were there's the document broadcasting. It's like, what do we call this? Participant synchronization. Well, it's not screen sharing.
Auto flipping.
Auto flipping. Yeah. What is it? So
see how important words are.
Yes. So, we're making new ground, and, I think one of the challenges that we're going to have is just explaining and, creating a new market.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you have to explain something that does so much more than what's written on the box in a way. But if you get too complicated with it, people don't even want to open the box because they don't.
Yeah.
It's a tough world to live in. I want to know what the plans are for this going forward. So where do you see a year from now? Where do you see it? Apart from earning you loads and loads of money and everybody using it, what else will you both be doing?
Well, I think it'll, by that point, we'll be very clear. We will have gone through several rounds of customer feedback
Yeah,
and refining the product. And I think we'll be hitting our stride in terms of, that growth into mass market. And I think we'll know ourselves better. We'll know the product better
yeah.
and what it is that we need to provide. I think that's, one of the key points. In terms of the shape of the company, it will grow as it needs to.
Yeah.
We don't have anything set in our minds of we need to
I
have
like
100
that.
employees in a big office or
Flexible
anything
enough,
like that.
yeah. Jacob, what about you?
Well, I would say, because I'm really into, the product experience. I think that a year from now, it's going to be less about, okay, let's add 25 more features, but it's more going to be about how does it work with your Gantt charts, for example,
Yeah, yeah.
right? How does it work with your G Suite? How does it work with your Outlook, right? Because we know we're not in a vacuum. And we know that everyone is using different tools and instruments. So how do you create a truly holistic experience? How do you, connect everything? How you tie all the pieces together. So, that's just another thing I have to do, right? So we don't want to have that, right? We want to have more, complementary and building,
So
I don't like the word synergy, but
yeah, you'll be having the headaches, not the people who are actually using the software. In terms of entrepreneurship, and I've through this whole sort, I found this fascinating that most of them go, yeah, at times it's but you just have to plow through it. Have you found that sometimes at those lower dips, it's been no, we've got to find a solution and plow our way through this?
Yeah, sorry, you go ahead, Jacob.
All the time, and the one place where it really hurts is that when you're talking to customers, or rather prospects,
Yeah.
and when the prospects say, "Oh, this is actually a tool that we really need," and this and they tell us what problems is going to be solving on their end, and we still, for whatever set of reasons, are not able to consummate, and we're still not able to get the deal done. We're still not able to, people dragging feet, approvals, budgets, there's just a whole bunch of stuff. And that thing, again, you experience that, where you get the engagement, you see that, okay, we're hitting the right spot in terms of,
well, that's because they have to have lots of meetings, Jacob, to make that decision, and they can't because the meetings don't work. They need just software to make that decision.
Yeah, so that's what frustrates me the most.
I can imagine. And Miguel, for you, I know you've only been with this one 6 weeks. Are you a true entrepreneur? Have you done other?
Well, I've had small entrepreneurial ventures, but I've been working in startups for the last 3-4 years. So
you get it,
yeah, with go-to-market plans and getting the product out there. And I think, collectively, what you can do to try and get out of that dip is just remember all the good work that has been done in the past.
Yeah.
I think sometimes in startups you live very much in the present. It's every day you're fighting fires, or you're driving forward, and you're going at breakneck speed. Always make sure you get plenty of rest. I think burnout.
Plenty of rest.
No, seriously,
Water.
burnout can be very damaging. And a short rest, a stitch in time saves 9. It's true. And I think the important thing is to be supportive of each other within the team, to to sing praises when they're needed, and even when people are low, to pick them up. I think it's What the worst thing that can happen is when, you know, things start to get ugly and everybody starts lashing out at each other,
Nothing
and
worse.
then you're
Yeah.
doomed.
Yeah, doomed, totally doomed. Now, I have to ask this question as well in terms of going forward in a way. You have picked up a ton of knowledge between you all and experience and things like that. How are you going to impart that knowledge and that experience to other people? Because, you know, being that successful, there are people coming up that need to learn how to do that. So come on the spot, how can you help other people learn it?
I think it's a difficult one, because sometimes you think, okay, well, we'll write a book, or we'll do a webinar, we'll encapsulate it
Yeah.
into a certain, you know, pill that people can swallow. The problem is, though, people need different advice at different stages.
Yeah.
So I think that coaching and mentoring has a massive role to play,
Yeah.
because, you know, getting the right information at the right time
Yeah.
will 10x your growth. And sometimes, you know, when you're just navigating online and you're trying to find, maybe you find even the wrong advice.
See, there
So I
needs to be
think
more events like this. This is where you need to be spreading your word and speaking at the events, like the startup events and things like that. Because Jacob, you've been at this now, how long? 3 years, did you say?
Well, it's more like 5. Yeah, startup events are the best. I mean, right now, there aren't any, and I find, and to be quite honest, I find that the virtual events, I mean, they work for lots of things, but for what you were asking, I'm not sure, you know.
It's horses for courses, isn't it? Things work for different people at different times. You're both right. So I have to say, I am going to be spreading the word about the software, because I sit with a lot of networks, funnily enough, and we're always taking notes. And then just before the next meeting, especially if I'm the secretary, I'm ringing around going, anybody got what the notes? Because I've lost them. I don't know who's doing what. So I see this going from really down those, what I call that sort of almost club type level, right up to corporate level. So on your own page on the website, we will be giving everybody all the links. We will be telling people to get hold of you and chat, especially the corporates, to see if they can make a change, you know, and create far more productivity and make meetings matter. Oh, there you go. Meetings matter. There you go. You got a whole new mantra. So, anything else you want to tell us about Meeting Atlas before I thank you very much for joining us?
You know, I would say that we're very open to hearing people's thoughts right now. It's you know, it's early days at entering this new sort of meetings at any level or any size organization, and we're very keen to speak to people. To, you know, we're kind of experts when it comes to, you know, productivity, to helping people make better decisions, bringing the knowledge within a group together. So, you know, we've seen how, you know, there could be a group of really smart people, but actually the collective IQ is lower than each individual participant, because there's groupthink, because there's all these dynamics going on, and there's, you know, and that's kind of how we can help people sort of break through. And we're interested in hearing just, you know, what people's challenges, what people's problems are. And even if we can't help them with our software, maybe it's something else that they need. You know, we've done so much research into what there is out there. We're happy to give somebody advice and point them in the right direction.
I'm pretty sure your software probably does everything they need. Jacob, was there anything else you'd like to put into that, apart from everybody please sign up for it tomorrow?
Well, and we're also looking for like-minded co-conspirators, right? I mean, if somebody is, you know, on an entrepreneurial quest and they're looking for a fun project engagement activity, we're also always.
Okay, well, thank you very much for taking the time out. And now we had to get the time difference right, because some are in the States, some here. And it's been a joy to work with you, honestly. I've really enjoyed sort of helping you get that clarification and stuff going, and success all the way, I reckon.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for your time with us. I mean, it was really enlightening and entertaining, and I would recommend it. I would recommend it to anyone that even an existing company that needs to get back to the core message. I think it's a really valuable exercise.
I didn't pay them to say that, please. I didn't. Okay, well, I'm going to say thank you. And as I say, everything will be on the page. So if you're watching this on Facebook, you can go over to the website and all the links will be there, and you must look out for them. Okay. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much.